My dog's going to teach you today. So thank you for joining me. I'll just move him out of the way a bit. So what I thought we would do today is just working with elbow balance, or working towards elbow balance. So there's lots of preparation, and obviously we take care with our shoulders if there's anything going on with our neck, or arms, wrists, hands, fingers. Whatever there is that's going on with any part of your body, you become aware of it, and you just work with what feels right for you. So any instructions that I give are overridden by the sensations that you feel in your body, because ultimately it's that whole sense of what we are feeling, the experiences of what's going on now, that are the benefits of yoga. It's the mental benefits, and that's how we can learn eventually to sort of cope with whatever's going on around us, because of that whole sense of what feels right for us in this moment here. So if we get going, so if you just turn on your mat, or just come onto your mat, so you're just coming down, so soles of your feet flat to the floor, and your knees are bent. So just how when, you know, if you're usually used to my classes, how we would usually start. So when we start with the legs bent, soles of feet flat to the floor, that just relaxes our diaphragm, it relaxes the muscles of the abdomen. So if you place your hands onto your abdomen, just feeling softness there. So we're not pulling in, we're not tightening up, we're not starting in a tense position, because ultimately yoga and all these practices are there to help us relax and to let go of tension. And if we do feel tension anywhere in our body, we just know, and it doesn't mean that it's a problem or that we have to change it particularly, but we're just aware of it. And then we just let it go, and we let our attention rest somewhere else. But for now, if it's okay, just taking your attention to your hands. And underneath your hands, the softness of your belly. And if you're not sure, if you don't know what that means, then really pull the belly in, tighten it up. Push the buttocks down, push the feet down, so you feel the whole lower half of your body, maybe the upper half of your body as well, tense up. And then consciously let go of all those muscles. And notice what happens to your breathing when you let go. Let's just do that again. So if you pull the belly in, so you know what it feels like to pull the belly in, because most of us spend our lives pulling our stomach in. And then tense up the buttock muscles, push the shoulders down, tense up your jaw. Breathe in, and it's difficult to breathe. But then as you breathe out consciously, with knowledge, let go of all those muscles and let go of your breath. And just maybe perhaps have that sense that your body spreads a little bit more, gives a little bit more. So when you breathe in, it's with relaxation, with quietness, with rest. And as you breathe out, you let go. And maybe it's a whole different feeling now. And it's never a waste of time to spend a bit of time at the beginning of our practice to do these kind of things, because relaxed muscles give us more mobility. If our muscles are relaxed, they don't pull on the joints. Relaxed muscles encourage blood flow, so then we get more circulation to the joints, more mobility in our joints, more lubrication to our joints. So just for a few moments, just being with your breath, feeling your breath deep inside the belly. And as you breathe in, the belly rises. And as you breathe out, your belly falls. And if you feel any part of you start to tense up or have a bit of tension or discomfort, just notice. Maybe you can move your shoulders around a little bit, just wiggle the toes. Just kind of have a sense that the whole of your body is important to this practice, to your practice, to yoga. And then just as we breathe, just allow your knees to drop over towards the right. Just the knees drop to the right, so just kind of starting to mobilise a little bit through the lower back. Bring the knees back up and let your knees drop to the left. Just do that a few more times. And as you do that, perhaps, as the knees drop over towards the right, take your attention to your left shoulder. Move the left shoulder around a little bit. And as the left shoulder drops, do the knees drop away a little bit more. Bring the knees back up. And as the knees drop to the left, move the right shoulder around a little bit. It's just kind of patterning it into a psyche, I suppose, that from the right shoulder, the knees drop away. So we have that connection. And then just continue. But with your awareness, as the knees drop, to the opposite shoulder. So having that sense of length from that shoulder all the way down through the side of the body to the knees, and far, far away to the heels. And you can, if you like, start to turn your head in the opposite direction. So as the knees drop to the right, the head turns to the left. And then notice what's happening with your breathing. And just notice and we'll make sure that you are breathing. And then just with that knowledge as well, and deep understanding that your body knows how to breathe. You don't have to tell it to. We all have that deep instinct. And then just coming back to centre when you're ready and just adjusting your position if need be. Just kind of having the sense of the weight of your head maybe a little bit more when now it is resting central where we perceive central to be. And then just circle your shoulders. Circle the shoulders a little bit. And we're just going to work with the shoulders. So right shoulder, right arm, right shoulder. If you take the right arm up towards the ceiling, right arm comes up. The fingertips pointing towards the ceiling, and just start to circle your wrist, just the right wrist. And the eyes can be closed, so just coming into contact with that sensation. And as you circle the wrist, now be aware that now you're circling your elbow, or the elbow is starting to move. And then taking your attention down through the arm to the shoulder, and feeling the sense of the shoulder. And now, can you just circle the shoulder, so you can push the shoulder blade down into the floor and round. Just circling the shoulder, and then just circle the shoulder, back of the shoulder in the opposite direction. So really feeling the back of your shoulder, really going into the floor, almost like giving yourself a deep tissue massage around the shoulder blade itself. So, and the arm circles, but that movement is coming from deep inside the shoulder. And notice if the other shoulder, if your left shoulder is starting to move as well. And can you just move your right? And then stop. Now place the right hand around the back of the left shoulder and move the elbow. Move the right elbow. And then just send the right hand a little bit further past the left shoulder. Push the right hand along the floor past the left shoulder, so you're stretching the back of the shoulder. And then trail the right fingertips back onto the left shoulder, trail it on the collarbones so the right arm or the right elbow comes down on the floor by your side. Then trail the right fingers across the collarbones to the left shoulder and then beyond along the floor. And then trail back along the collarbones till the right elbow comes down on the floor beyond the right shoulder. And then just really being aware that you're moving your hand, you're moving your arm, but can you feel that through your shoulder? Really feeling what's happening through the back of your shoulder and or anywhere else, wherever you feel it. Then the next time the right hand trails along the collarbones towards the left shoulder and beyond, start to let the left knees go over as well. So the left knees go over, so you come over onto your left side. And then trail back. So the right elbow comes down by your side. Now this time, as the right hand goes along the collarbones, push down into the right foot to lift the right hip. And as the hand goes beyond the left shoulder, bring the knees over towards the left as well. And the head will turn, and then you just start to trail back. So you start to have that sense that the whole of your body starts to move, the whole of your body connects, and you feel that connection. And you can slow it down or you can speed it up, but just feeling what's going on in the back of your shoulders. So it's a really good one, and just finding the muscles in the back of your body, and those muscles really important, more as important muscles as anywhere else, but you don't often think of them. And then just come back to centre and just rest there. And just for a few moments, with your hands back on your belly, just notice how it feels in the back of your body. The back of the shoulders, the back of your hips. One side feeling a little bit different to the other, and just allowing the echoes of that movement just to land, just to be in your body for a few more moments. And then we're going to do the same on the left. So we're going to take the left arm up, circle the left wrist, circle the left wrist, circle the left elbow, feel that movement through the arm. And then feel the movement through the shoulder. And can you just send the attention, your attention, all the way into your shoulder and circle the shoulder round and down, round and down. And really deep into the floor. So there you might feel, if your shoulders are anything like mine, they might be crunching, or you might feel quite quite a bit of discomfort really, because we hold so much tension in our shoulders. It's that whole thing, isn't it? We hold all our worries, all the weight of the world on our shoulders. And then just circle the shoulder in the opposite direction, really feeling what's going on in the back of your shoulders. Notice what's going on in your neck. Is your jaw tightened up? Because all these things relate. And no one part of our body will work without another part having or being affected by it. And then stop, stop. Now just let the left hand rest on the right shoulder. Circle the left elbow. Just kind of seeing how your shoulder feels, because if you don't want to do any more than this, you don't have to. And then we're just going to trail or just send the left fingers a little bit further beyond the right shoulder, so you feel that stretch down the back of the left shoulder, and then bring it back. And then just do that a few times, just testing the water, just seeing how that feels in the back of your shoulder. And then bring it back. And then perhaps if it's alright, when the left fingers come back onto the shoulder, trail across the collarbones, so the left fingers come to the right shoulder, the left elbow comes down by your side. And then go back. So we're just using this movement to open or to lengthen or to free up or to wake up the muscles in the back of your shoulder. Just trailing along and trailing back. And knowing that you don't have to do massive movements, all we need to do is send our attention to different parts of our body to start waking it up, to mobilise. So where our attention goes, energy flows. So if your attention is on the back of your shoulder, the left shoulder, that's where circulation, that's where energy, that's where movement will start to wake itself up, I suppose. Then the next time the left hand comes back, just send your attention to your left foot and just push down into the left foot, and that will lift the left hip, maybe. And as the left hand goes over towards the right, send the knees over to the right, so you go all the way over onto your right side, and your head will turn as well, and then roll back. Left elbow comes down by your side, and then roll back. So have that sense that the movement starts to transfer all the way through the whole of your body, even though you just started with your left wrist. So we're just starting to wake up the whole of our body in a gentle, careful way. And then we learn to that sense of being kind to ourselves. We learn that we don't have to do punishing things in order to free ourselves up. And then you might, when you're ready, just come back to centre. And then just stop and just let the echoes or just let the vibrations of that movement just land and just be in your body. Now how does it feel now on the left side? How does it feel now on the right side? And maybe just sort of see how your shoulders feel. If you push the shoulders down and draw the shoulder blades together, so that tightens everything up. Breathe in, that will lift the ribs. And then as you breathe out, let go. So really know how it feels to let go of those muscles. So now when you breathe, you just have that sense of width perhaps across the back of the shoulders, width perhaps underneath the arms and around the armpits, because that's where we breathe. We breathe in those areas. So if those muscles are free, if those muscles are quiet, we're more likely to breathe more easily, to breathe more beneficially. And that can only be good for our health, physically and mentally. Just for a few moments, just again being with your breath. We just do some things with the legs now. So if you draw the right knee in, take the hand underneath the knee, ease the knee down, circle the right ankle. When we circle the ankle, we're just trying to ease tension, so then we can start to work through the knees as well. So as you circle the ankle, if you place your right hand on the right knee, feel that movement inside underneath the knee. Circle the ankle in the opposite direction, feel that movement inside underneath the knee. And then just stop and just take the right leg up, right foot up towards the ceiling. Place the right hand again on that right knee. Now soften the knee. The knee is quite soft. It's almost as though the weight of that foot can sink all the way down through the leg into the hip. And again, if you circle that right ankle, is your knee free enough so that you can feel the movement deep inside the knee? And then stop. And now just start to circle the whole leg, so tiny circles. Imagine there's a circle above the heel, the right heel, and you're just following that circle. So now if you take your right hand towards your right hip, can you feel that movement deep inside there? Because it's your hip joint that's circling. The hip joint's the ball and socket joint. It's like our shoulder joints, that's the ball joints. That's why circles are really good at freeing up those areas, those deep joints inside, heavy joints. And then just circle in the opposite direction. Can you feel that movement through the hip? You might feel that movement in the lower back. So it's a really good movement at freeing up the muscles in the lower back as well. You can stay with this as long as you like, or I'll just stop, and then just ease the leg down. So we're not using our arms, just let the weight of gravity ease the leg, ease the foot a little bit lower down. The hip can stay wide and rested. You can use your left foot on the floor to encourage the right leg to come a little bit lower down. And then when you're ready, take the hands maybe towards the right ankle. But try not to resist the urge to pull or to force or to push. We're not trying to force ourselves to do anything. We're trying to free ourselves up. We're not trying to push ourselves into any kind of shape. We're trying to feel what our body is allowing us to do, and to feel those sensations from the heel, through the back of the knee, through the thigh to the hip. We're not trying to do anything in particular. We're trying to be, and we're trying to feel. And then let go. When the right foot comes back on the floor, just let the right knee drop out to the right. So just feel that length on the inner thigh. And then ease the knee back up. Now if it's okay with your knees, just cross the right knee on top of the left knee. If your knees don't like this, then don't cross them. And then just allow the knees to drop over towards the left. But this time the right shoulder is your gauge. So the right shoulder stays down as the knees drop away. If the right shoulder lifts, don't send the knees so far away, lift the knees up a little bit. If the right shoulder can stay down, the knees can drop away. If you place your hands on the base of the ribs, or around the ribs, when you breathe in, feel your breath inside there. And as you breathe out, just let go. Maybe your head can turn to the right, but there's space between your chin and your shoulders. And you feel your breath. And then just roll back. Uncross. Just settle there for a few moments. Settle there for a few moments. And then when you're ready, we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to draw the left knee in, take the hand underneath the left knee, just ease the knee down, circle the ankle, a few times one way, and then the other way. So when we're doing this, we're circling the ankle in order to free up tension in the knee and also in the hips. We hold loads of tension in our ankle joints. They're strong joints, and we don't often think about our ankle joints. But our ankles are really important for transferring energy from the feet, from the ground, up through to the rest of our body and our spine. And then if it's okay, just place your left hand on that left knee and just take the left leg up towards the ceiling. And as you circle the ankle, soften the knee. So can you feel that connection from the ankle through the knee? And if you place your other hand, so the right hand on the back of the knee, the left hand on the front of the knee, maybe you can feel that movement through the back of the knee as well. That whole sense of your leg. And when we practice yoga, all our attention is deep inside our body. So whatever's going on around us, we just allow it to happen. Because often is that whole thing, isn't it? It's not going to go away. So we may as well just welcome it. Be glad for it. And then stop. Allow the whole weight of the leg to sink into the hip. Imagine there's something on the right heel and you just start to circle the right heel. Just start to circle the right heel. If you place your hands deep inside the hips or around the pelvis, feel that connection deep inside there. So from the heel to the knee to the hip. And if you place your hands on the centre of the spine, can we feel that movement deep inside there? From the heel to the knee to the hip to the spine, the whole body. You might even feel something in the back of your head or around the neck. You can make the circles in your leg a little bit bigger. You can reverse the circles. You can send the left leg out to the left. But can you allow the weight of the hip to collect back through to the centre of the spine? You can send the left leg slightly over towards the right. But can you allow the weight of the leg to connect back through to the centre of the spine? So the shoulders stay wide. So we're not making a nuisance of the leg. We're trying to always feel as though that leg is back connected to the centre of the spine. And then perhaps can we draw the left leg a little bit closer down so the foot goes in the direction towards the top of the head. but try not to force that. Just allow the weight of gravity to send the leg a little bit lower. And the hands, if you like, you can take the hands to the ankle or the knee, below the knee or above the knee, wherever it goes quite comfortably. But we're not using the hands to pull or to force. We're using the hands just to create maybe a little bit of connection from the hands to the shoulders, back through to the spine, from the heel to the knee to the hips, back through to the spine. So a deeper place inside. So in that sense, whatever's going on with our body, our attention is on that deep, deep place that rests deep inside our body, which is the spine. And that's where movement comes from and goes away to. And then just let go. When the left foot comes back down, just let the left knee drop out to the left. So you feel that length on the inner thigh. And then just come back to centre. Have the soles of the feet, and find the soles of the feet, the base, the big toes, little toes and heels. Find the hips, the right hip, the left hip. Find the shoulders, left shoulder, right shoulder. Find that sense of the back of the head and the crown of the head. And that sense of wholeness, I suppose, for all of you. And then carefully, carefully, just draw the knees in towards you. Place your hands underneath your knees if that's okay. Just to ease the knees a little bit lower, but not forcing, resisting the urge to really pull. Rock from side to side, so that just eases into the muscles in the spine, around the back of the spine. Massaging, using your body weight to massage those muscles. And notice, can you feel them in your hips? Or sensations in the hips, sensations in the back of the shoulders. What do you feel? Or you might be feeling it somewhere else, you might be feeling in your knees. And then come to centre. See if you could link the hands underneath the knees. Be aware of your breath coming in. And as you breathe out, just ease the knees a little bit lower down. Breath comes in. And as you breathe out, can you ease the knees a little bit lower down? Can you take the hands around the fronts of the knees, but be careful with your knees. Don't strain or do anything that doesn't feel, or that is beyond your pain threshold. So you always kind of maybe go to a boundary, but don't kind of go beyond. So your sensations in your body always override instructions. Be aware of your breath coming in. And as you breathe out, maybe ease the knees a little bit closer. The closer the knees come, the more length you get in the spine. Widen the elbows, widen the shoulders, draw your chin slightly down, have a sense of long, long neck from the base of the skull all the way down through to the tailbone. And you breathe and you feel your breath in your body. And then if it's okay, rock from side to side. So again, you're massaging the muscles at the back of the spine, but using your body weight and really trying not to force anything. So you're allowing things to happen with gravity that's around us. That's the only force that we need, is gravity. We feel the weight go down. We don't have to push. We don't have to pull, because it happens anyway. There's that whole sense of doing, but working towards being. And then just come back to centre and just know that you are balancing. You balance on your spine. Shoulders either side, hips either side. You slow yourself down. And then we make that conscious decision to bring our feet back onto the floor. And we feel that connection down through the toes, base the toes, heels. We let our hands rest on our body and we feel that connection. And all these things allow us to rest because they bring us to the present moment. Bodily sensations, feelings, breath. And it's enough, more than enough, just to be here and to rest with ourselves. And then when you're ready, we're just going to come over onto your side and just coming up, just when you come to sit, just work with saying in the way that your head is the last part of you that lifts. It's coming up to sit, and then we're going to go into, we're going to come into all fours. So if you come into all fours, so the wrists are more or less underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, and we're just going to work in much the same way as we did before. So shake off the wrists, because if there's anything going on with your wrists, kind of have that sense of knowledge. Lift up one knee at a time. And then we're just going to just push the elbows apart, and that will lower your chest. and then bring the elbows back. Now this time push the elbows apart but try not to lower the chest. Push the elbows apart, close the eyes, push the elbows apart but try not to lower the chest. So you feel that opening and that length across the back of the shoulders and underneath the arms or around the armpits. And then try to keep all that space going as you lengthen the arms back into columns. We're trying to make as much space underneath and around the arms as possible. Move the head from side to side, move your jaw, so make sure you're not tightening up. And then again, shake off the arms, because we're trying to free up tension, we don't want to create it. And then when you're ready again, we're going to take our attention to the right arm, just as we did before. Circle the right wrist, or you can lift the right wrist up and circle the right wrist. And you're going to feel quite quickly, you can't do that without moving the rest of the arm. So you can feel that through the shoulder, you can feel that through the elbow. And now if you close your eyes, can you just move? If you bring the right wrist down, can you just circle the shoulder? The arm may move, or will move, but your attention is deep inside the shoulder. And then circle in the opposite direction. Just the shoulder. And then keeping the wrist down, draw the shoulder up. So we're just trying to find those movements. And then let go. Draw the shoulder up. And then let go. Just imagine you can push the elbow wide to the right, draw the shoulder out to the right, and then let go. And then draw the shoulder up, keep the wrist down. This time bring the elbow down, this time bring the right elbow down. Let go, make sure you're not tightened anything up, move your neck, and then if it's okay, turn your head to look past the left shoulder. Try not to sink in the waist, so imagine the back of the waist is being drawn up. And then lift the right elbow, come back to neutral spine. Shake off the wrists. Let's do the same on the other side. So if you lift the left wrist, move the wrist, the fingertips on the floor, move the left wrist, move the left elbow, move the left shoulder. So look in the opposite direction, just trying to free up and move your neck and move your jaw. And then stop, bring the hands down. So now again, if we move the wrist, circle the wrist, so you feel that through the elbow, left shoulder, and then find that through the shoulder. So all your attention on your shoulder. So remember that little phrase, where your attention goes, energy flows. So all we're trying to do now is send our attention to the left shoulder and just circle the left shoulder. So the arm will move, but it's because you're finding that movement from a deeper place, deep inside the shoulder. And as you circle the shoulder, take your attention to a deeper place even there, to the centre of the spine. It's almost as though from the centre of the spine you can move your shoulder. And then if you push the elbow out to the left slightly from the centre of the spine, you can widen. If you push the left shoulder out slightly towards the left, find that movement from the centre of the spine. So you might feel something around the left side of the ribs start to open. And then let go. Keep the left wrist down but draw the left shoulder up. And then let go. Keep the left wrist down but draw the left shoulder up. Try not to push into the right wrist or right hand. And then bring the left elbow down. Let go. Try not to push or pull through the shoulders now. Circle, let go. Turn your head to the right. So it's lengthening through the muscles of the neck and all the way down through the side of the body. Make sure you're breathing. Try not to collapse in the back of the waist. There's a feeling of coming up through the back of the waist, or the front of the ribs being drawn in. So from the centre of the spine is always that feeling of lift. And then coming back up. You can round the spine if you like, just kind of ease off. And then let go. Rock the hips from side to side. And as you rock the hips from side to side, just ease the hips back towards your heels. That's kind of just bringing ourselves out of those movements. So just lengthening the spine in a different way now. And then just coming back into all fours. So we're just going to do one more thing just to wake up the back of the shoulders. So just imagine if you have a cat, or you've seen big cats at the zoo, and just imagine how they walk. So when they walk forward, the shoulder blade comes up to lift the arm. So you lift maybe the left shoulder blade up to lift the left arm, or hand off the floor. Lift the right shoulder blade up to lift the right arm off the floor. So just imagine how a big cat would walk. So just kind of finding that movement through the back of your shoulders. So you're coming up through the shoulder blades, you're coming up through the shoulders to lift the arm. And then just feel as though the centre of your spine, through underneath inside the ribs, that part there is coming up to lift the arm. And then just kind of continue that for as long as you know, if you want to, because you can stop this recording at any time and then come back to it. And then just see, can we work with the legs in much the same way. If you keep your right foot on the floor, but lift the right knee, just circle the right knee. So as you do that, can you feel that in the hips? So all these movements, they're just there to wake up the joints, to wake up. Because the freer we are on the outside, the more movement we get on the inside. And then just circle the knee in the opposite direction. And then just see, if you take your attention to the back of the right hip, can you draw the right hip up to lift the knee? And then lower. Can you draw the right hip up to lift the knee? And then lower. And just do it once or twice more. All your attention on the back of your body. Try not to push too much into the hands. So imagine from deep inside underneath the ribs is that feeling of coming up. And then let's do the same on the left. So you can shake off the wrists, you know, if you're kind of getting tight or anything like that. Take your attention to your left foot, your left leg. If you keep the left foot down, lift the left knee and circle, just move the left knee around a little bit, just move it around. Any kind of movement, free movement is good movement. Try not to push too much in the hands. And if it's too much with your wrists, you can come onto your knuckles, or you can, you know, you can be on your elbows and try to do it. So just, you know, because wrists are, can give us quite a bit of discomfort really if we're weight bearing. But weight bearing is good, stimulates bone growth, but bone health, I should say, not growth. And then stop, and then take your attention to the left, back of the left hip, draw up through the left hip to lift the left knee, and then lower. Up through the left hip to lift the left knee. So we are, first of all, with these little sort of exercises really, and all they are physical exercises, we're just isolating the joints. Ultimately, in the end, our intention is to bring everything together to give us a sense of wholeness, completion, connection. But first of all, maybe, you know, we have to isolate in order to find those movements, to find those feelings. And then stop. Circle your hips. And as you circle your hips, feel that through the wrists. Really feel that you're circling your hips, but you can feel your knees. You're circling your hips, but you can feel your shoulders. So your whole body is connected. And then just circling the opposite direction, your whole body is connected. And it shouldn't be any other way. And as you circle, maybe go a little bit deeper, till eventually the hips go all the way back towards the heels. You can stretch the arms forward so you feel that stretch. And then you can let go. And you can just ease your hands or the elbows back towards the knees. You can make light fists with the hands to support the head. Really being with your body, your breath, here. And feeling the breath in the back of your body. Connecting there. And then just come back into all fours. So we're going to work more into the final position. So elbow balance now, so, or the prep, don't have to lift the legs or anything. So we're going to come into all fours. So just move the arms around a little bit. So take your attention to the back of the shoulders, right shoulder, left shoulder. And even though the wrists stay down, can we feel as though we're coming up through the back of the shoulders? And at the base of the neck, the back of the neck, can you imagine the back of the neck really rounding, or the base of the neck, not the back of the neck, sorry, the base of the neck at the back of the body really being drawn up. Then you might feel your pelvis starting to round. You might feel that whole sense of the front of the ribs drawing in, and your spine starts to feel round, round, round. And we leave the hips alone as we ever so carefully bring the elbows down. And when the elbows come down, we can lift them up. We keep that sense of round spine as we bring the elbows down. And the top of the head doesn't come on the floor. There's space between the top of the head and the floor because at the back of the shoulders, you're kind of connecting. That part there is coming up away from the floor. Can you come onto the tips of the toes? Now where the heels are, imagine the heels being drawn up. Make space in the back of the knees. So imagine the knees can be drawn in towards the hips slightly. And that might lift your knees. So we keep that whole sense of coming up away from the floor, not pushing down, but coming up from the floor. And then only sort of hold it for, kind of be with it for as long as you can, and then come out. So fold the knees down, fold the hips back towards the heels, make light fists with your hands to support the head. Being aware of the breath in the back of your body. And let's just go, we'll go again, but we'll go into it in a different way, because if we do these things in a different way each time, then we use different muscles. So it's always a good idea to kind of work differently. So we always come back to the beginning. So we never assume that we know. We never assume that we know what we're going to do. We never assume we know what we're going to feel, because each time is different. We don't know. We don't know what our body's doing. Each time we wake up, our body is in a different place, a different feeling, a different space. So you can start on the tips of the toes. I mean, that's my habit. You can start with the feet flat, and then just place your hands on the centre of the spine. So deep inside here is where we want the movement to come from, the movement, the feeling to come back towards. So, right, so if we drop the chin, so you can feel the weight of the head, and this part here, the base of the neck might start to round, shoulders can start to come forward. So work with what your body is doing. So we're not trying to force anything, we're going to go forward. So when we're going forward, we want the head to hang, we want the shoulders to round, we want the spine to round. And we maybe can bring our hands towards the thighs, hands can come onto the thighs, round shoulders, maybe the hands come towards the knees, but they're light, we're not forcing. We want a sense of coming in and up underneath here. Maybe the fingertips will come onto the floor, but we're not forcing, we can always lift them. We can walk the hands forward, but can we keep that sense the weight of the arm is coming back towards the shoulder. The shoulder connects back towards the centre of the spine. So the fingertips go down, but can we keep that sense of coming up through the shoulders, up through the shoulders. So all your attention is on what you're doing, what you're feeling, what's happening with your spine. And then as the elbows come down, can we keep that sense of coming up through the shoulders, up through the centre of the spine. And the top of the head will hang, the chin will draw in, your spine is rounded, it will sort itself out when it needs to. The base of the neck, that feeling between the shoulder blades is drawing up, and ever so carefully start to lift your knees. And there's that whole feeling of coming up, away from the floor. And your hips don't go up towards the ceiling, the pelvis or the tailbone is dropping down towards the heels. And that's what takes the heels down. That's what takes the heels. We're trying to make as much space between the collarbones, the base of the throat and the thighs as possible. As much space between the base of the throat, the upper part of the spine and the thighs, front of the thighs as possible. Make sure you're breathing, and ever so carefully you fold yourself out, down when you're ready, and just come to settle back down. So the closer your elbows are towards your knees, the harder it is. If it's really impossible for you, you just take the elbows, you take the hands a little bit further forward. The wider space between the elbows and the knees, the easier it is for you. So just kind of work. You know, if we do it again, just kind of figure out where you can go. If it was really hard for you with the elbows close, you take them a little bit further forward. We want kind of the right elbow more or less in front of the right knee, left elbow more or less in front of the left knee. And your spine is rounded, 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 rounded spine. And at any moment you could feel as though the elbows can lift. Between the shoulder blades there's a feeling of coming up. And that's all those things allow you to lift the knees. And you're not trying to pull the heels up, you're not trying to push the hips up. The front of the hips inside here wants to feel as wide and spacious as possible. Underneath and around the armpits as wide and spacious as possible. Because eventually that's what takes one leg up. And then just see. And then you come out when you're ready. And you just allow yourself to settle. Be with and feel your breath. Be with and feel your body, because it shakes the whole of your body up. It's an inversion. So the venous circulation or the circulatory system is reversed just for a few moments. You might feel that lightheadedness or a flush in the head. So just kind of settle down and be with whatever you feel. And then we're just going to turn and come to rest on our back. Let's come to rest on our back. And obviously if you want to go on and repeat the practice a little bit more, then that's what you do. Or you can just come down and rest. Your hands resting on your body, hands resting on the belly, and just be with your breath. Allow everything to settle and rest. Then if you've had enough, you can stop and you can rest. Or we're just going to do, I thought we would just work with Trikonasana, just how we did in the last recording. I'm sorry about my dog keep going, but I'm going to carry on. So if we come up to stand, if it's all right, coming up to stand, and we're going to take, just as we did the last recording, so we're just going to take the right foot forward. So just have that sense of coming upright. And that whole sense of now, the head is above the level of the heart. So you can let the hands rest on the centre of the spine, relax the shoulders. Lift the back heel up and down a few times. Whole sense of connection from the heel, through the spine, to the top of the head. Relax the shoulders, relax the shoulders. Then as the back heel goes down, just imagine the front knee moving forward. As the hips are just left behind, just work with the idea that the spine moves forward. And as the right hand goes down, have that connection back through the arm to the shoulder, just as we did before. I mean, my teacher Sophie always used to say all the positions are the same. So as the arm goes down, have that sense of coming up through the shoulder. As the spine starts to move forward, away from the back heel, or from the front heel as well, the spine can start to turn. So we get that sense of moving forward, and then we can start to turn away from that front leg towards the left, and the left arm might lift. Make sure you're breathing, so really opening up the whole of the upper part of the spine. And then lower, and come back, come upright. Step back, send the left foot forward. You've got space between as well as a bit of length. Lift up the back heel, up and down a few times. Maybe this time, let's have the hands on the back of the waist, the lower part, the mid part of the spine there. Relax the shoulders, and as the top of the head moves forward, you can lift the back heel to send the top of the head forward a little bit more. Make space in the front of the hips, but as the back heel goes down, can you keep sending the top of the head forward, where the hands are resting behind you, come up, into. So we're coming up away from the floor, widen the shoulders, soften the jaw. Then from deep inside, where the hands are resting behind you, turn away from that front knee, turn away from the left knee towards the right. Towards the right, the gaze can come up because the neck follows the turn of the spine. Then if you open the arms, the left one goes down, the right one goes up. But the movement is forward, away from the heels, through the top of the head. And then come back up when you're ready. Oh, well done. So let's just, we should do things at least twice really. So let's just repeat. So if you place the right foot forward, so you've got space between the feet as well as a bit of length. And really, because we've done so much work with our shoulders, so really have that sense that now we can move from deep inside the spine. The turn is from the centre of the spine right through to the crown of the head. So we can start differently. So the right hand can rest on the right thigh, the left hand can rest on the upper part of the spine. So above the level of the waist, we're coming up. Below the level of the waist, we rest down into the floor. From the centre, we move. So when you're ready, we start to move the top of the head forward. From the centre of the spine. So the hips stay wide, we're coming up away from the floor. The knees are soft. Imagine you're going to draw the knees forward. That's what takes the spine, that's what takes the top of the head forward. Wide shoulders. Make sure you're breathing. And this time, as the right hand goes down, the left elbow can start to go up, and you feel that turn from deep inside underneath the ribs. You leave the hips alone because they do their work. You don't have to do that. So as the arm goes up, let the weight of the arm sink back towards the shoulder to allow the spine to turn. So you're not reaching with the arm, returning with the spine. And then come back up when you're ready. And step back. And then last time, so maybe if you want to, you can spend a bit of time just finding your feet, so the ground beneath the feet, and equalise, balance the weight between your feet. So equalise everything, balance everything. Spine is central, shoulders either side, hips either side, heels below. So you spend time to come back to a sense of, I keep wanting to say balance, but equanimity. So we really find that as place where we're quiet, where we can stop, where we can just take stock of how we feel. And then the last time we're going to send the left foot forward, so there's space between as well as a bit of width. We lift the heels up and down a few times, we move the toes. And then when you're ready, let's start how we did before. So left hand can rest on that left thigh, so below the level of the waist, that part there drops away. The right hand can rest on the chest, above the level of the waist, we're coming up away from the floor. This down below, where the thigh is, and up here, where the chest is, they're coming away from each other, because the opposite movement would be to collapse. And we don't want to collapse, you know, not intentionally. We want to feel as though we can come up. Our intention is to grow, is to find the length in the spine. We can't be taller than we are, but we can be as tall as we can be. And then keeping that whole sense, the upper part of the chest is moving forward, the thigh is going down or away back from. We're trying to make space between, we're not trying to connect the two, we're trying to find length in our spine, we're trying to find health and movement in the joints. So we're moving forward, through the top of the head, we can lift the back heel a few times, we can soften the knees. So we want to feel as light as possible with that connection into the floor. And as the top of the head moves forward, the back heel connects us to the floor. And you might feel a bit unstable, and I always feel unstable, and that's good because it's your body shifting. It's finding its central gravity. You can place now the right hand on the back of the waist if you like. From inside there we come up away from the floor, make space in the front of the hips. We're moving forward, 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 past that front foot. From deep inside underneath the ribs we open and we turn, and the right arm might come up. And you just see where you go from that turn deep inside, because we've done so much work with our shoulders. You might get quite a big turn. And then you can come back up when you're ready, and you can step back. And then if it's okay, maybe just placing your hands on the upper part of the chest or around the heart centre, and just letting everything settle. So coming back to your breath, coming back to your body, coming back to you. There's nowhere else to go. So being grateful, being glad for what we can feel right now. Heart might be beating, chest might be rising and falling. That whole sense of life that you have, health, whatever that might mean to you, whatever degree of health you have, is the best you have right now. And it's the best there can be. So when we breathe in, filling our body with breath, with life, with gladness, and as we breathe out, just letting our breath travel all the way down through to the feet, feeling the ground beneath us, that ground that supports us, that can allow our body to release tension. Just with that knowledge that we don't have to hold on to tension, we don't have to hold on to anything. Whatever we receive, we can just give back. And that understanding comes with our breath. The feeling of the breath coming in, feeling of the breath that leaves, connection of the floor beneath. And then we're going to go into a forward bend. So when you're ready, soften the knees, hands can rest on the knees, and just as we did before, imagine underneath your hands you're pushing your knees forward. Do you feel the weight go more into the front parts of the feet? More into the front parts of the feet. Heels stay down, but they're light. You soften the knees, maybe the hands go a little bit lower to the ankles, soft knees. Maybe the fingertips touch the floor, but they don't have to. Soft knees. Now lift up one heel at a time, just feeling that movement through the back of the legs. And then just imagine, as the heels go down, can you imagine them coming up? Imagine you're going to lift your heels, you get that sense coming up through the backs of the knees, inside, underneath the kneecaps. The kneecaps themselves are soft, so you're not locking, you're not straightening, you're not doing anything. The knees might straighten or lengthen, but you're not trying to do that. You're just trying to feel that sense of connection through the feet. And if the hands are on the floor, through the hands. But if the hands are down, can we feel as though we can collect back towards the shoulders? And then from the shoulders to the centre of the spine, find the centre of your spine and imagine the back of the waist is being drawn up. So round, round spine. Allow the top of the head to hang, so the neck will free up the spine. And you can walk your hands forward, and you can walk your hands back. The elbows are wide, shoulders are wide. So you're not trying to get your chest onto your thighs, we're trying to lengthen the spine so the top of the head moves towards the floor. And then we're just going to fold ourselves down. You can walk the hands forward a little bit. You can bring the knees down, flatten the feet. Just ease the hips back towards the heels. Support your head with your hands, or the forehead might come onto the floor. Just kind of see where you are. Maybe take the hands behind you, or let the elbows just rest down by your thighs. Round, round spine. Feeling your breath in the back of your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then just coming up when you're ready and just turning, so just coming to rest. So you can either do a meditation that you would usually do, or you can stay with me for a little bit longer. So the hands can just rest on the base of your ribs or the belly, and just making sure you're quite comfortable. You can drop your knees to the right, bring the knees back up. You can drop your knees to the left and bring the knees back up. And then you can stay with the knees bent, or you can just experiment. Is it okay if you send the right leg along the floor? If you'd rather have the right leg bent, then obviously that's what you do. Can you send the left leg along the floor? If you're more comfortable with the knees bent, then obviously that's what you work with. But just kind of see where you are. Hands can stay resting on the belly or body, or take your arms down by your side, palms facing up, so you come into Shavasana or corpse pose. So there's space between your arms and your body, and there's space between your legs and around your legs and your knees and your feet. It's having a sense of the whole of your body, from the heels to the calves, the knees and the thighs, the hips. Your abdomen and your breath in this part of your body. As you breathe in, does your belly rise? As you breathe out, can you let go? Feeling the back of your waist, front of your waist, the front of your ribs and the back of the ribs, your chest, your breath inside your chest. And as you breathe in, can you feel your lungs really widen and expand and fill up with air? And as you breathe out, can you allow this whole part of your body to empty? And really coming into connection with your lungs, inside your body, with your inner eye, your inner vision, feeling your lungs. And taking your attention to your hands and your arms. Stillness. Is there an impulse to move? And can we just arrest that impulse? Just allow ourselves to be still, to slow down and to be quiet. Being aware of the weight of our shoulders. Shoulders can feel quite heavy, quite tight. Are they aching? Just being with whatever you feel in your shoulders as you breathe in. Being with whatever you feel in your shoulders as you breathe out. Being aware of your neck, your head and your face. Allowing the weight of your head just to be given onto the floor, so our heads can feel so heavy, especially if we're worried or stressed or anxious. We have cares, memories or anticipations that can weigh on us sometimes. just knowing that your head, if it does feel heavy, there's reasons for it to feel heavy. And when you breathe in, can you breathe in into the back of your head? And when you breathe out, just let that part of you go. Being aware of your face, the whole of your face. Knowing that you don't have to show expression, change, do, talk. You don't have to do anything. Your face, your expression can be just as it is. So now when you breathe in, that's all there is to do. And you can feel your breath coming in, inside the whole of your body, inside the whole of your face. And you can feel your breath leaving. And you breathe with the whole of your body breathing, connecting. And you breathe with a sense of all of you, knowing that the whole of your body breathes because it does. And you can feel the whole of your body breathe, just because you can. And you're not trying to do anything or change anything. You're just practicing being quiet, being attentive, being awake, being alive to every sensation, every experience, every feeling. Because that's who you are right now. And as we prepare to come out of the practice, just bringing your attention back to your body, feeling the connection with the floor beneath, supporting you, safe, quiet, comfortable. And just starting, if it's alright, just reconnecting, moving your fingers, moving your toes. Taking your time. Knowing that that quietness deep inside you can remain, can stay with you, whatever you're doing, whatever's happening. You want to stretch, stretching the arms, so just reconnect into movements quietly, carefully. If you like, you can draw the knees in towards you, but not forcing or pushing. So that kind of, a sense of kindness and quietness that perhaps is starting to arise inside us, just staying with that. So you don't have to force, you don't have to push. Acceptance arises when we just allow things to be just as they are. And that doesn't mean that we don't care about things, it just means that we accept. And we can choose when to respond and choose when to not. And then just allowing yourself just to find a place where you can settle and maybe come onto your side. So taking your time, opening your eyes if they're closed, or just keeping your eyes closed for a little bit longer. And just knowing, maybe acknowledging to yourself that you've spent this time caring for yourself, nourishing yourself. And in that way we can congratulate ourselves for doing this, for knowing that you're doing something that will ultimately help others, because we can't value others unless we truly and really value ourselves. We can't help others unless we're healthy. So spending time resting on your side or coming to sit, but making sure that you're okay before you join the rest of the day. And I just want to thank you for listening and joining in. And just coming back. Upright, rested, breathing, knowing where you are. And thank you.